I might have been a people pleaser at the hair salon today. Welcome back. What do you think of my hair? I just got back from the hair salon. See my video yesterday and actually all my prior videos if you would like to see a before, because this is now the after. So I got my highlights back up to the roots. This is a full highlight, full blonde highlight. We actually, believe it or not, I know it looks like all my hair is dyed blonde, but we don't touch the underneath at all. And it's actually pretty much just on the top. But the way it blends in with my hair, it looks like full coverage, which is intentional because the goal is to have bright blonde hair, but as little coloring and as little damage to my hair as possible, so that I can keep growing it longer. As you can see, I did need a little trim. I knew I would. But she tries to take off as little as possible. That's something I like about my hairstylist. We also did toner, so she tones the existing blonde. So the only new coloring going on my hair is just the couple inches at the top. The rest of it is already blonde, and so she tones it to give it more brilliance and take out the brassiness and the yellow. That's actually part of why we used to do, for a while, we were doing a root melt, and we would have even less blonde because my hair was a little more damaged when I first went to see her about 3 years ago. And so she suggested a root melt, and I feel like it was a little bit more on trend then too. I don't know, I don't really keep up with the hair trends lately, if I'm being honest. I did try to do, back then, curtain bangs were in style, and I asked for a curtain bang. I don't really like how it looked. I do have a bit of bangs, but personally for me, I just like having kind of a grown out bang, but enough to kind of go like this with my hair, and it gives it like a bit of wave, a bit more framing to the face, and kind of adds some depth to my hair. That's what I like. But what was I talking about before that? Oh yes, so the root melt would be a darker brown at the base, darker than my natural way would do it, and then melt it into the blonde. And it looked really cool. That also had a lot of depth. But another reason why I like the blonde, in addition to covering up gray hairs, is with blonde, I can wash my hair as much as I want, and I don't have to worry about the color fading. So even when I had a little bit of brown hair dye, or when I used to dye my hair all over brown, which was the color I went with before I went back to blonde, I've basically had almost all hair colors in my life, as in like brown, blonde, you know, I've had the spectrum of blondes, like more on the yellow side, more on the white side, various types of brunette, and then auburn too. And I actually do like the auburn. Auburn color hair is nice too. But I do like the blonde. It kind of brightens my face, brightens me up for summertime. But then also, what else does it do? Oh yes, washing my hair. That's where I was at. I'm not supposed to edit this stuff out, so we'll see if I do or not. But I can wash my hair as much as I want with blonde hair, and the only thing that it's gonna do is eventually the blonde will get brassy again, but it is permanent, which I like. So even though when I was getting it dyed brown, that's also a permanent dye, it will fade. And I found myself kind of stressing out about, oh, I'm supposed to wash it every 4th day or 5th day, but I can't wait that long because my hair gets too greasy and itchy feeling, and I don't like that. So I really just like to not have that conflict at all and not overthink things. You know, that could really be a topic. There are other things that I like to just not overthink altogether. So I actually drive, what year is my car? I don't remember what year it is, but I have actually had my car for 9 years or so. And I actually really prefer that because I don't worry about it quite as much. So if it gets a scratch on it or something, not that I've ever had a new car because I haven't, but I just prefer it a little bit older so I don't worry as much. Also, I have really old and retro and cute, to be honest, kitchen countertops. And I like that I can just kind of beat them up a bit and be creative in the kitchen and not really have to worry about, oh, am I staining the countertops? You know, am I ruining something? And then I also have older furniture in my house too, which I enjoy because I have cats and they are indoor outdoor cats and they are not declawed. So they do, if they're inside for long enough or inside at all, actually they like to come and claw up the furniture, and I like that. I just don't really mind. You know, imagine if it was a brand new piece of furniture, I would be stressing out about that. So I find that I'm somebody who likes to not even worry about that. But what did I say at the start of this video? People pleasing at the hair salon. Yeah, let me tell you a little bit about my salon experience today. You know, sometimes you go to the hair salon and there's some kind of really interesting stories and you'll think, oh, I never thought of that before. I never heard that before. Maybe it's some local news and it's got you intrigued. You're maybe even texting your sister or your husband the news that you heard. Today, that was not the case. Actually, sadly, it was, I heard about a lot of just deaths in the family today, just sad stuff. It was that and medical issues. So that was really sad, and it kind of had me counting my blessings. So thank you, God, for all the blessings in my life. I'm really grateful. But I am very happy with my hair. She always does a great job. And it's funny, I'll usually have a moment of doubt too while I look at, today it was when I saw she already did the blonde. She washed it out, put the toner on, and I could see the toner. I could really see the blonde right up at the top, but then it looked like there was a break. And I just saw kind of a brownish looking color, and then I saw the blonde again, and I thought, oh no, is it not blended right? And it's so funny. Tell me if you relate to this. I usually do have a moment where I doubt her, like every single time. Even though she's been great, I've been seeing her for almost 3 years. But there's usually at least one moment of doubt for like a few minutes at some point during the appointment, which I'm usually there for 3 to 4 hours. So I guess you could say too, at some point during the appointment, there's a little bit of room and space for me to overthink. And apparently I take that opportunity, but I do know how to kind of move on from those thoughts. And I'm actually, in a lot of ways, I'm really not that picky of a person. So I'm like, it's hair, it'll grow. If she messed it up, that would not be fun, but you know, we can fix this, and worst case, it'll grow out. But I was thinking about it today, because I am a recovering people pleaser. I've talked about that so much in other videos. I'm actually considering starting a people pleasing playlist, which I actually think I will do that. It's going to be more of like a topic playlist, because a lot of times I don't have people pleasing in the title of the video, but I talk about it a lot in the video. But I was thinking about it today because usually when I'm in a public setting, almost 100% of the time, the temptation to people please will arise. In fact, it's so common for me, it's not really an if, but a when. So, and I think today I'm actually going to go into some micro ways that I actually people please. There's bigger, more obvious ones that I think a lot of us struggle with. And then there's those teeny tiny ones that I don't really know what, is it individual to me as a person? Is it maybe a trait of a highly sensitive person or an empath? Or yeah, are these things more common than I think they are? I don't know. What are some bigger ways to people please? That, of course, would be if you're not stating your preferences and desires for your hair, which I think even when I was younger, I thought that you couldn't really have, like, it wasn't okay to speak up and state your own preferences or desires. That, of course, is not the case at all. And we absolutely should be stating our preferences and desires, especially if you're paying your own good money for that. So that, I think, especially now that I'm in my 30s, not an issue. Now, my hairstylist and I, we have developed a relationship over the last 3 years. And so I do trust her. And I think she actually knows. I like to sit down in that seat. I'm coming in from a hard work week, usually just exhausted. Be like, don't make me make another decision. Like, take care of me, make my hair look pretty. If I do have specific preferences, I'll state them up front. And otherwise, I just let her do her thing. Like, I view it as a work of art. And I think she really enjoys that because she really does. She gets really into my hair, and we always have fun at the end. She usually is so happy with it. She'll talk about how pretty it looks, which I love, of course. So it's just a fun time. But I've noticed when I'm there, you know, when you're in maybe a social setting that's a little bit different than what you're used to, too, I think you can start thinking about maybe overthinking what other people are thinking. This is also one that I feel like comes up for me when I'm in an environment with a lot of other women. I still have this belief that I know isn't true anymore, but this belief that I need to be smiling. So, you know, even if you are super tired, which I usually am at the salon, it just happens, that don't show that you're tired. You need to be smiling, you need to be sociable. So actually it made the hair salon really difficult when I first went in there. Because when I first started seeing her was when a lot of my chronic health kind of issues, chronic illness and chronic fatigue was really rising up and something I was having to deal with. So it was that kind of clashed with the people pleasing, and you can imagine the internal stress I was going through just doing something fun like getting my hair done. You know, I talk about this stuff out loud and I'm like, oh, poor Allie, you've just got to relax. But my hairstylist did notice, she noticed a couple times. Last year when I was having a really hard time, and I mean a really hard time, like I would need to have a full energy drink packet or something at home just to get my butt in the salon. And then I'd need to be having a coffee or something else just to stay awake while I was there. And she said to me a few times, she just said, "Are you tired?" And I just was like, yeah, I'm tired. And she eventually, after a while, and I got to know her better, I did tell her a little bit more about the health issues I was experiencing in my body. And she shared about her issues with me as well. There's actually times where each of us have been in the hospital. So we've shared about that, you know, highs and lows, highs and lows. But even to this day, today, I noticed feeling like I needed to have a smile on my face, feeling like the women around me would be like, what's wrong if I just kind of had straight, tired face, you know? And I'm like, oh gosh, that has to go. You know, we need to be able to just be tired somewhere and know that that's okay. So even though I think I've done a really good job over the last couple of years of cultivating that inner safety within myself, days like today, I'm like, oh yeah, there's still a way to go. What's also funny is I'm having energy. I'm actually getting a little bit more energized lately as I'm kind of coming out of the chronic fatigue more. So even though it is still definitely an issue, don't get me wrong, I am less fatigued overall than I was last year. And so coming out of that, I noticed today that I was talking to the people around me more. That in combination with how I've also just been at that salon longer now, and some of the people I was talking to, I know them. So that's a factor as well. But I noticed there's this default thing in me that if I even have a little bit of energy within me, that should be given out to others in the name of the social setting. And so I noticed it was a little bit of this amped up drive to like, let's get this thing going, you know, let's get this party going. And, you know, it wasn't a party. We were just all there getting our hair done. But, you know, let's really get the most out of this social event today that is getting my hair done. And I thought, that's really interesting. That, you know, that used to be that way for me 24/7, no matter what environment I was in. And I'm somebody, when I was in college, I was in like 5 extracurriculars. I had 2 jobs, a full course load. I basically would just sleep in my bed at night, and then I was up for 18 hours going. And I had that same attitude the whole time of socializing, yes, because I'm an extrovert, but also socializing from a bit of a place of people pleasing and wanting to have the warm, fuzzy feelings for others and for myself. Again, a lot of the things I'm talking about, it's not like there's anything inherently wrong with wanting to socialize and wanting everybody to have a good time, but I think it depends on your heart posture. And are you coming from a place, you know, is that actually renewing to you or is it exhausting you? So that was something I noticed today. Another thing I noticed that I still do, and this is a bit of a reaction to being tired as well, as, you know, she puts the cape over you. And so I'll have my hands underneath, and I really notice myself like tensing up. So I'll tense up my hands like this, and then I'll notice myself tensing up my shoulders too. And this time, you know, sometimes I maybe do that because I'm uncomfortable. This time I don't think that was really the case. It wasn't because I was uncomfortable. It was more because I was just trying to stay awake today. And so I guess that was just something that I noticed. And then I did notice too that she asked me to tilt my head back. And I did get to the point where it hurt my neck. And that's where, you know, it can be time to speak up and be like, oh, my neck, you know, but I still am somebody where it's like, in order to speak up, I feel like I have to be in a lot of pain first. That feels pretty deeply ingrained into me because of not wanting to make a scene. So that I don't know that I have much more commentary on that today. I think that's just something interesting to notice. Also, something that was fun is they're trying a new shampoo. They're trying a new purple shampoo at my salon. So the purple shampoo specifically for the blonde hair. And I know that it was an organic shampoo. I didn't actually catch the name because I was there leaned back over the bowl, and my stylist was washing my hair, and then the owner of the salon came over to see the new shampoo because that was the first time they'd used it. And they made all kinds of comments while they were washing my hair of how did it feel in my hair? How did it look? What was the texture like? Did it suds well? And then they check the ingredients and we're just making a bunch of comments like that because, you know, this is their full-time profession. And so, of course, they're going to be interested in all of that. I did like that it was organic, and I know that the owner of the salon is pretty health conscious. And so that made me super happy that they're making a switch to less chemical and more towards organic products. And I said that she said, it's organic. And I said, ooh, I like that. They seemed to like the shampoo. I thought it was good. You know, my hair looks good, so I'm happy with that. But I did notice it was fun to be a part of that conversation. I feel like the more I go on my healing journey, the more I'm able to just enjoy life's little moments. And I noticed just really enjoying being a part of that moment where I could hear their reaction. And I felt a little special too, being the first client to be kind of the test subject for that new shampoo. I just like that kind of stuff. So I'm really happy with my hair. I plan to go back. I have another appointment in 3 months, which is a little bit longer than normal. I actually usually go back every 2 months. But I have a couple trips coming up that I'm excited for. I'll probably talk more about that. I have a couple trips coming up, and you know, since I am still working through chronic illness and fatigue, and so I already am planning way out in advance that those trips, while I'm looking forward to them, are probably going to exhaust me, and really trying to budget my energy and plan ahead for things now. Could you say I'm bracing for impact? Maybe. Is that potentially part of a burnout cycle? I don't know. Oh, I don't know about that. Do I have more rhetorical questions for myself? Always. But going on trips, and so I'm actually going back in 3 months instead of 2 months. My stylist did notice that, and I said, you know what? If I get sick of it, I will call you sooner and I'll get in there sooner. But I think I need that time. I need a couple open weekends to recover after those trips. So we'll see if I get, you know, you will see as the videos go on, you'll see my roots popping out over time. And I might get tired of that and I might go see her sooner. But it's been really nice to get my hair done professionally for the last about 3 years now. Not even at the end of this year, it'll be 3 years. I do think, even if I'm tired and it'll be, you know how that goes. Your appointment pops up, you maybe are not excited for it. You're like, ugh, how am I gonna drag myself in there? I'm so tired. But I always feel better afterwards, and I'm super excited for my new refreshed hair. I'm excited to film some more videos with the new style. And what about you? Do you find yourself people-pleasing at the hair salon? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in the next video.